Welcome. It's a full house. It's nice. All right, so we're going to build on top of what Noam mentioned. We're going to show you some case studies, some creatives with numbers, and talk about the strategies on the new launches on TikTok. So my name is Matej, Lancaric. This is Sam. This is Dmitry. So to kick things off, can you just start with an intro about yourself and the companies you work with? Sam, let's go. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm one of the co-founders of Lessmore, which was founded about 2021. We're best known for Eat Venture, this restaurant idle game, and this newly released We Are Warriors, which was launched December last month. My background is about six years in hyper casual / hybrid casual, working at Popcore, before founding with Jerry and Josh Lessmore to build hybrid casual games.
Nice. Dmitry?
Yeah, my name is Dmitry. I've been in the industry for like 12 years or so. I was for a couple of years on the dark side from the ad networks, but then moved back to the game development. So right now working as a UA manager for Space Ape Games. You could know the company. We released BeatStar. It's kind of a Guitar Hero for mobile phones, but better. And recently, recently we released Chrome Valley Customs. It's a puzzle match 3 game about the car restoration.
And I've been in the industry for 10 years. I'm doing a UA consultancy for 8. And I'm also hosting a 2.5 Gamers podcast. You should definitely subscribe. I'm going to check the subscriber counts. So I see you all. And then, so we can then kind of build again on top of what Noam mentioned. There are changes in the gaming landscape. So can you share your kind of observations and changes and challenges that happened to you and your companies in the last few years? Just Dmitry, let's start with you this time.
Sure. Yeah. I think like for everyone is in this industry, like IDFA, like not having IDFA was a big problem. It was still hard to solve. I'm not sure that there are so many companies who solve this issue. There are a lot of talks about Scan 3.0, 4.0, but still there it's like tricky to run UA campaigns. It's even harder to measure the results from those campaigns. So I think this was like one of the biggest changes in the industry for quite some time.
Yeah. How about you, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, this whole IDFA stuff.
Everybody's talking about it for years.
One thing we know is that social networks such as TikTok and other similar platforms are becoming more and more relevant because how good they are at building communities, right? The organic downloads that you can get from those social networks and their ability to get as many people talking about your game as possible. Having said that, for Lessmore, also we didn't really feel the effects that much from the change of landscape because we focus on building fresh gameplay. We don't really like to do reskins or copycats. And fresh gameplay or innovative moment-to-moment gameplay usually is somewhat immune to stuff like the IDFA change, because once you release a game that is fresh that nobody has seen, a lot of people will start talking about it. A lot of people want to download it. It's usually wide appeal and it can explode in growth in the beginning when you launch. So we didn't really feel the effects.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
that's a good spot to be in. Honestly, like after IDFA changes happened, TikTok still was one of the best channels I've seen working on different games. So it's quite a good spot to be at. So how these changes kind of affected your new title launches? So you just launched We Are Warriors. How's that kind of affected the whole strategy?
So Lessmore hasn't been around long enough to to have a before and after. One thing that we know that when we launched Eat Venture, it was definitely difficult to get a lot of scale really fast because we had to navigate data, right? We needed to know whether those ROAS campaigns were profitable. But one thing that was different with We Are Warriors is that we exclusively launched on TikTok, which there is this hidden gem in launching exclusively with TikTok, because you didn't need to look at the source. Every download can be attributed to TikTok, which is a sort of like a hidden gem, which meant that we can focus on nothing but TikTok campaigns and just focus on that explosive growth and get as many players talking about our game as possible, and our game is fresh and sort of it's a positive feedback loop. And then, like, I think in the end, over 50% of our downloads was organics from TikTok. So that was kind of the strategy, and that was kind of what was different to Eat Matej. We didn't really need to worry about these issues because we were exclusive on TikTok.
It seems like all those like videos on TikTok they went viral, right? How do you kind of like, is it like, what do you do to make that happen?
I mean, there's one observation that we've seen is that the creatives on social, like TikTok, are usually creatives that spark discussion, right? So, for example, on We Are Warriors, we had this creative where, so We Are Warriors is this game where you evolve through ages. You start off with Stone Age, then you evolve to like the Iron Age, and then you evolve to the Modern Age, and then you evolve to the Space Age. And one of the creatives was who would win in a fight, 100 cavemen from the Stone Age or 3 soldiers from the Modern Age. And these creatives spark a lot of discussion in the comments, because it's really easy to forget the creatives on social, like TikTok, you can comment on.
Yeah.
Right? You can't comment on creatives in your traditional like display network. And because you can comment on them, a community can be built around the creative that you're scaling, which is what sort of drives that organic growth, which is what we've seen. So to answer your question, it's more of an observation rather than like, we don't know what that means.
Okay.
But
it kind of happened, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
No, but it's good. You mentioned this like kind of weird, bizarre situation in the creatives that can kind of like spark the discussions, because that's what I've seen as well. Like you create like funny, very bizarre situation. Like, okay, I had this creative a long time ago for Battle Legion where there's exactly the same what you explained. We had one big giant toad which was kind of like destroying like few hundreds of zombies, which didn't even happen in the game. So you create this bizarre situation that people are like, oh wow, this is amazing, wow, how can, this is so OP. And immediately when you see the comments, you get better place in the auction, and then kind of like build on top of everything this kind of happening in that creative. Dmitry, anything on your end in this kind of like area of creating buzz around the creatives?
Yeah, as for the channel mix, I think we went a very old-fashioned way. It was like a couple of solid channels like TikTok, Meta, Google Ads. Again, they are super fast in learning. They are huge. You can like for TikTok, you can also run ads both on iOS.
We can actually show your creatives.
Yeah,
so, but we are warriors now, so we can then touch that.
Okay, sure. So and as for creatives, I mean creatives, they are the kings. I mean, you need to produce a lot of them. You need to test a lot of them. And I think with IDFA, at least like what we noticed, that iteration works not as efficient as before. So we try to focus a bit more on like different themes, different fantasies, than on like iterating on the one specific creative for like 100 times.
Yeah. Okay. So we have this creative, Sam. I think you can play those, right? Yes.
I was talking about the second creative. But
Okay, sure. But
that one's also pretty satisfying.
But it's the same. Yeah, it's the same concept that you mentioned, kind of.
Yeah, but the other one got way more comments. So this one it's just gameplay, whereas the other one sparks discussions, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's playing now.
Yeah,
so you can see it's a bunch of Stone Age, and then there's this one Modern Age, and then I think he gets overrun in the end.
Oh, but of course.
This one is the 1x speed. There's a 2x speed one. So. Oh yeah, he dies in the end, and everyone in the comments is like, "Oh yeah, but if it's 3 and." But yeah, so that one had way more comments than the one on the left. So again, it's an observation.
Like, how did you come up with this concept, for example? Like, have you done like a lot of creative research, or like how does that happen? Because like the idea has to come from somewhere.
we tackle creating creatives the same way as we do games. So we try and create stuff that is unique to our product. We don't really do this whole market research stuff, especially in the beginning.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so we play the game a bunch, we do a bunch of creatives, and then we look at the videos and look at, okay, what is unique, what is satisfying about this creative? So in the beginning at least, and then, you know, as the lemon has been squeezed and you've tried multiple ways, multiple angles to sell the game, then we start doing market research. But in the beginning, it's just a bunch of brainstorming and no market research.
Nice. Okay. That's pretty cool. We have more.
Okay, let's unlock our thrower and our dyno, and let's go max out our food production.
So,
All
as
right,
you know,
let's go battle.
there's
It's
this
battle
amazing
time. We got this. We got this.
thing on TikTok,
All right,
which is
let me
called
see what you
TikTok
got
Creative
first.
Challenge.
All right,
And I use it quite a lot because you
Boom.
can get
Yeah, you thought
a lot
you
of
had me.
new creative
You thought you
concepts
had
per
me.
week from the creators on
you
TikTok,
got
and
your
you can use it
dyno?
in the
I
creatives.
still
So
got you.
that's what
we are
we see here,
warriors.
right?
Send your dino riders into battle in the Stone Ages, Spartan
Yeah.
warriors in the Iron Age.
Yeah, the
and
TikTok Creative
tanks in the
Challenge
modern age.
is
Conquer the wars
as
and become the
Matej
greatest
just
general the world
explained,
has
it's
ever seen.
TikTok's
Now we are
solution
warriors today.
to providing user-generated content, which is it's OP. It's so OP. You basically create this challenge, and then these influencers create these user-generated content, which is very integrated into sort of like the TikTok experience, right? So I don't know if any of you have sort of scrolled through TikTok and then you come across a video that says best games to play on the toilet, part 2. And then only like 20 seconds in, you realize it's sponsored. So this is what they do, and we had a bunch of these creatives prior to the launch in order to tackle creative fatigue. So that was something that was really important. We had an arsenal of these creatives.
Yeah, because TikTok is a channel where you need to refresh the creatives quite often. And also, like, you have these options on TikTok Creative Challenge. You can get 5 new creatives per week, 10, 20. That's quite a lot of new creatives. But it can be also, you know, on the both spectrum of quality. But we can touch on that as well afterwards. So let's actually talk about. Let's actually talk about the Chrome Valley. Yeah, where is it? Where are you?
I don't know. Slide should be there, but like
Where are you?
overall for us, TikTok Creative Challenge was also like the perfect solution.
Modern.
Because again, you need
Okay,
to
let's unlock our
change
thrower.
the creatives like, I don't know, once, twice per week, because they are burning out enormously fast. And basically to be there to compete with other games, and for the time of the audience, you just need to produce a lot by yourself, share these videos with the influencers, put the briefs, and then you need test and see what sticks. So it's like never-ending learning story for us.
Can we talk about the briefs, like how you should think about the briefs for the creators? Because like I believe that's very important to get the most quality content out of the challenge.
Yeah, that's true. It's the most important. But the thing is, I mean, we as the developer, as a UI manager, as a video artist, we know what should work, but also like no one knows the audience better than the creators. I mean, this the way how they earn money. It's their hobbies, it's their profession. So they know the things. So I would say your brief should be like very short, direct. You don't need to set like some specific like rules, like saying this, not saying that. I mean, they will find the right phrases, they will find the best scenes to cut from your videos, and then you will be, ooh, I should do the same, but like for our own UA videos on other channels.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add to that. So when you create the TikTok Creative Challenge, which is, once you create it, there's a brief and there are sort of like options that you put in, and then that gets sent out to, it's like a call for creatives, and it gets sent out to all these like influencers that can accept the challenge and submit their own creative. And then we would take that creative and then test it. And then in that brief, when you fill it out, there's a lot of like options, like, oh, what are the top 3 things that your influencers shouldn't do? It is very tempting to fill this stuff out. Don't fill it out. Keep it as blank as possible, and give them as much creative space as possible, as Dmitry said, because they know the audience so well. They can probably sell your game better than you can. but only in the beginning.
Which is interesting, yeah, because I found out that as soon as I put, let's say, more constraints in the brief, I get more quality outputs. But only like, okay, well, you need to show the gameplay, you need to be actually visible as a person in the gameplay, because what I found out, like there are like a lot of just, slapping of the TikTok voice on top of the captions and just showing gameplay, which also works quite well. But, I want to work with creators. As soon as I put there in the brief, the quality output just like increased dramatically.
But no, it's like increasing quality doesn't mean the
I know.
increasing the performance. So for us, it is like usually it's like you need to test, and like when you see these 10 videos, you was like, they would never work. They couldn't. Like why? And then you test it, you see the numbers. It's like, okay, I need 100 more like that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. There was this one example where if I were to fill in the brief, I would probably say, show the gameplay immediately, because the gameplay is all that matters. But I left that out, and then one of our hit creatives was the creator starting in the main menu.
Okay.
And when I put that in the testing campaign, I was like, this is not going to work, but I have to. I feel bad, right? We have to. He put effort, and it worked. I think it was like overall, I don't know, I don't have the numbers in my head, but it was a good chunk of our overall spend came from a creative that starts in the main menu.
Yeah, look, so usually what looks amazing and it's really polished doesn't necessarily mean it's going to perform the best. I've seen that, yes, that's true.
Yeah, I think like one of our like creatives and a nice example about that, like our account manager showed like how the video editor works on TikTok, and I was like, oh, this is nice, but I personally don't have a lot of time to make all this iteration to test them. But he just put like a landscape video on a TikTok, added subtitles, added like POV. That's what means to be a car mechanic, and this video outperformed the original, but like 4 times spent. And this was like, why? I don't know, but that was a fantastic. It works. That's super nice.
No, but the thing is, like, you can play with the video editor quite a lot on TikTok, and that you can put filters, different trending music, which works quite well and can improve the performance. That's what I've seen as well. So and now diving into the UA kind of a little bit more, because we are talking about creatives, and TikTok is really creative heavy. So how many creatives you need for a launch? How many? It's like a lot. A lot, but now can you unpack what lot means?
I don't know, I think when we started we've got like around 30-40 creatives, like concepts, so not iterations, but like
so different concepts.
I mean, not like super different, but like with a lot. I mean, some of them were CGI, some of them were camera, some of them were 2D, 3D, like high quality CGI. So we try to cover a lot of different themes to understand which one would work the best, and like then iterate on that idea. So 30-40, and then it's like portrait, square, I don't know, landscape.
That's the thing, like people think like you need to only use vertical formats, but from what I saw, square can do well, and even landscape, like you mentioned. So you can use all of them.
And also for the video team, it's important then, like when they produce everything in vertical, and then it's like, oh, we need to cut, but when it will cut ugly for a landscape then.
Yeah. So for you, it was a TikTok creative challenge, and I guess your own videos.
Yeah, so when we launched, I mean, the strategy is so different to Eat Ventures, but the strategy we are is that we knew we had a fresh game. We knew that the KPIs were really good. We wanted to sort of like capture the market as quickly as possible. So our main strategy on TikTok was explosive growth, and get as many players talking about the game as possible, which TikTok is really good at. Because of the gaming community. And we needed that arsenal of creatives, which we had about, I think we had about 50 to 100 creatives, which was really important because our strategy was the explosive growth, and that meant that a lot of players will see the game, and that means that creative fatigue kicks in really quickly. So we had to be prepared, and as Dmitry said, in the end we had to sort of like replace the creatives every once or twice every week. So yeah, around that number, yeah. And also, one thing that we noticed with the TikTok platform is that the algorithm learns really quick. It finds winners very quick, which is really useful when you're going for that aggressive scale, because you need to find winners really quickly.
Okay.
And so Yeah, that was
Can
a.
you
was a
unpack that a little bit? Because that's important.
Well, all it means is that I think compared to other platforms on TikTok, so we didn't have much faith, but when we tested creatives, we would know a winner in about 12 hours.
Okay.
And that was great. So what we would do is we'd get a bunch of creatives,
Yep.
slap it on a campaign, put like a budget of 200, 300, and then wait a day. In the beginning, we'd wait like 2 days,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, okay.
And then we noticed that, hey, we'd usually by the 12th hour, like it's
Okay,
it's
so
usually
that was
the same.
like your creative kind of testing approach. Put it in the campaign. Any geo suggestion?
We put it on a testing campaign, US,
Okay.
and then in the end, after 12 hours, whichever has the biggest UA spend, and then if that's beating the control in the.
Okay, so
in
you put
the-
control into the campaign and then the new ones. Okay.
Yep.
And then you take the winner and then put it into the business as usual campaign.
Yes, exactly. So test campaign, US, put the control in your current winner,
Okay.
and then put a bunch of creatives in there, and then after 12 hours for us. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
12 hours, usually it's when it's consistent, right? You wait longer, it's going to be the same result. About 12 hours, if there's one that is spending more than the control, then that's worth putting in the main one. And if
Okay.
that's, has meaningful spend, then you've got a new winner. That's basically how we did it.
Yeah, Dmitry, how about your creative testing approach,
As for the-
especially on TikTok?
So we test creative only on one channel. We test creative on Meta.
Okay.
And we test it on Android, Philippines, news feeds only.
Okay.
We care about like
Interesting.
cost per day one retained users because still, I mean,
Okay.
CPI is not the only thing we care.
sure.
We would like to see that players stick in the game. So basically after that, we see this nice result like low CPI or low cost per day one retained user. We push these creatives to business as usual campaigns like on TikTok, on Meta, or on other channels just to and check in which one would survive in app event optimized campaigns
Okay.
and value optimized campaigns.
Okay, so does it mean also that one creative winner rules all the UA channel, or you see differences?
I mean, there are some differences. I mean, still the winners usually somewhere like winners in this test, they usually somewhere at the top or in other channels. But of course, like for TikTok, like we don't test UGC creatives in Philippines. It doesn't make a lot of sense because they are produced for English-speaking audience for like tier 1 countries. That's why for them it's kind of a separate track. We even don't test them. We put them to business as usual campaign, see if they start performing. And again, we see it pretty fast. It's like still the new creatives receive a push in impressions. We know that we can see CPI, early metrics, and then they should grow or die.
Do you care only about the CPIs, or also like IPMs, installs per mile, or anything else like retained users, or it's just spend versus CPI and then go to business as usual?
So in the initial launch, no, all we cared about was scale.
Okay.
We cared about let's get as many players talking about our game as possible. We're optimizing for CPI. That's all we looked at. But after that, I completely agree. You need to look at more data. I mean, if you have a creative that flat out lies, which doesn't happen that often. If you have a creative that flat out lies and then someone installs and then they don't stick around, then the low CPI doesn't matter. So
Yeah, that's true, because you can have low CPIs, but then it comes down to retention. And if you use fake gameplay, then people install the game. It's low CPI, but nobody sticks afterwards. What about like outside of like UA on TikTok? Have you used like let's say creators, Spark ads, or anything in these regards? Because you said you wanted to create buzz and hype, so I assume there were a lot of people actually doing their own kind of videos on their own profiles.
no.
Okay.
No, it was just in-house creatives and
Okay.
TikTok Creative Challenge. As I said, TikTok Creative Challenge is just great. It's a lifesaver.
Do you use Spark ads at all?
No, we don't.
Really? Oh my
No.
God, you should. It's quite useful. I found out basically what I'm doing on TikTok and other channels as well. We have the organic profile, and we used the videos or posts with the highest engagement, and we use this as Spark ads in the campaigns, and that works like a charm. So if you grow your organic profile, use it efficiently. It's really, really good one.
Noted.
Yeah, okay, good. So, all right. Looking ahead a little bit, like what are your future plans leveraging, TikTok in general, and, what are the strategies you're kind of excited going forward? Dmitry?
So Sparkets I learned today.
Okay.
But overall, it's
Easy.
like the thing is there are a lot of different new products coming up from TikToks, like high spending power audience was the thing, worked pretty well, like Pungle as the separate placement could work in your campaign, so there is always something new.
Yeah, by the way, are you using playables on TikTok?
No, we don't.
No.
It's usually like a video, and the thing is with the video is like not 15 seconds, like 30, 60 seconds video are working better than like short videos. I don't know why, and it was the thing for quite some time, like 30, 60.
Yeah, the 60 is the maximum limit you can put. So it's the requirement is between 5 to 60 seconds. And I've seen these long form videos working on different channels as well, and I see it quite a lot recently. Okay, so what about you, Sam? What are you kind of excited? And what are the future plans?
So I think it goes back to the TikTok Creative Challenge. So I mean, look, I keep mentioning creatives. Creatives
It's absolutely important.
Yeah, creatives is king, right? So at Lessmore, number one priority is new games, right? Fresh gameplay that has the biggest impact on your revenue always. The second biggest priority is creatives. That has the next biggest impact on. And so our future plans would be going back to the TikTok Creator Challenge and keeping the brief as sort of empty as possible to give the influencers as much creative freedom as possible to sell your game better than you do. Eventually, you want to sort of like gather your own learnings about what's working and what's not, to sort of like optimize that process a bit. Because now you've seen dozens of creatives, at least we've seen dozens of creatives now, and we're starting to see patterns. We haven't seen 60 seconds, 30 seconds patterns yet, but I'm sure if we delve deeper, we'll start to see these patterns and then update those briefs to get sort of like more control over what kind of creatives has worked, and also telling these influencers, hey, these kinds of creatives have worked and these haven't, in order to sort of increase the quality.
Okay, so what are the patterns? Like, can you at least say like one example? Like, okay, so we've seen that if the creator says this, or if we show this in first 5 seconds, it dramatically improves the performance.
So there's nothing at the top of my head because we haven't done that deep analysis yet. But what I can say is that from Adventure's learnings is that these patterns, they're usually unique to the game.
Okay.
So in We Are Warriors,
all this funny situation definitely works.
yeah, that wouldn't work in Adventure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And the Adventure creatives don't work in We Are Warriors. So for me, we're probably going to make new learnings on at least those kinds of learnings. We feel like move the needle more, but yeah, it's hard to say because we haven't delved deep yet. So
okay.
No, the things which works like as the pattern, as the trend, like I mean, opening scenes from creators, they are fantastic. They managed to, like for Crown Valley Customs, they managed to find some footage of the cars which are very similar to the ones we use in the game, and overall the whole flow was so smooth, so nice. So we are testing by ourselves some similar opening scenes, because again, first like 2 seconds are the most important. That's still the truth.
Yeah, the hook is very important. Like makes all the people just want to watch the whole thing. Okay, and how yeah.
It's insane the kind of hooks that some of the creative challenge influencers come up with. I think in one of ours we had like, I bet my girlfriend her golf carts that she can't beat me on We Are Warriors, and it's like, what the hell is this? And then it somehow works. It's like, why is this working?
It catches your attention, and honestly, like I've done some really crazy shit that's nothing to do with the gameplay in the first 3 seconds, and it really catches the attention. As like, oh, this is a game, nice, okay, that's fine. And if you combine, I'm using like real life hooks, kind of like from different scenes over the TikTok. I just take that, put it in front of the creative, and then suddenly like the performance is absolutely amazing. And if you find this connection between real life and then like what's happening in the creatives afterwards, like that's like the smoothest kind of flow from the creative, from the hook to the actual like meat of the creative, and then like the ending, the call to action afterwards. But but it's true that we are mainly oriented for male audience, I guess. Ish.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Yeah, we're
Like
oriented.
90%.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah, so
more female.
no, male,
No?
80, I don't know, percent.
Okay. it's-
Car
it's
restoration,
from- yeah.
I mean, Be My Ride, all other shows, I mean,
Okay, but it's
that's
like
the audience.
slightly older audience than you, I guess, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, so what do mobile kind of publishers need to know like before launching their game on TikTok? Like what are like kind of like main takeaways or tips you would share? Like, hey, so you need to do A, B, or C. If you talk, let's start with you, Sam.
So so right now I'm just summarizing, right? I mean, but I think first of all it depends on the game. But if you're building a game that has the potential to go viral, so like a fresh game or a game that you'd feel like a lot of people will talk about, then I would for sure say go for that explosive growth and try and get as many players talking about your game as possible. And again, TikTok is really good at this because they have this strong sort of like gaming community that can sort of spark a lot of discussion around your game. Before you do this, prepare an arsenal of creatives because creative fatigue will hit you in the face quicker than you'd expect.
Quite immediately.
Yeah. But overall, I think despite all of this, you still need a good game. Right, the product still needs to be good. The early KPIs needs to, I mean, good enough. Like for example, We Are Warriors. The way we sort of at Lessmore, the way we maybe I'm getting a bit off topic here, but at Lessmore, the way we sort of outside of data determine whether a game is good is when we playtest, we wait to see if someone hands the phone back. Right, so usually our prototypes that suck and that are boring, we give someone to playtest, and they're like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, and then they hand the phone back. That means it's not good. But if they're complaining and they think that the balancing sucks and whatnot, which is what happened with We Are Warriors, most of the playtests, everybody was complaining, but they would be playing. 2 minutes later, they're still playing. 5 minutes later, they're still playing. 10 minutes later, they're still playing. They're on their like 12th
Can apply
ad.
to creatives as well. Like if someone's like, this is nice, but nothing, and then
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh well, this come on, like how can you use this in the creatives? Like
That's true. Actions speak way louder than words when you're using. So we had this kind of game, and we had break even that is lower than 7 days. So you need a game with good product. TikTok can only carry you that much.
Yeah. Dmitry, how about yours?
Yeah, I think creatives is like the most important. Be ready to produce a lot in advance, and then again properly test them and test different optimization depending on your game. Is it like mobile app install, app event optimized campaigns? Set the hypothesis like this is the budget after which I should receive the results, and where I should meet some benchmarks or KPI you said before. So set the KPI in advance. Spoke with the guys from the industry, so.
Yeah, I think we can all agree TikTok is absolutely crucial for launching games and putting that into your UA mix. And with that, we think we can wrap up. If you have any questions, catch us here. Thank you very much for coming.